Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today I would like to turn back to Norway and take another look at one of their Arctic field rations. Now this particular one is sweet and sour pork, so let's get this on the table and see what this pack contains. So I have here on the table this Norwegian Arctic field ration. Now this particular one is the pork sweet and sour, and it has a best before date of 2020, so still nice and fresh. Now as we know by now, they come in a standard green pack and they have a peelable seal on the corner. So let's give this a pull and see if it works. It's working nicely. Now, let's see what this pack contains. I'll just move it to one side slightly. So straight off the top there we have the sweet and sour pork. Nice freeze-dried package. There is a strange smell coming out of that pack. I do hope nothing's been compromised or damaged. We have an orange flavour cake. That's a new one. I've never actually tried this, so that'll be a first. Let's try and see if it's got a split on it. No, there is something in this packet that is smelling, so it's open. We have a cranberry protein bar, 28% protein. There is a real dark chocolate. We have a multivitamin, the hand cleansing disinfectant wipe, there is an energy drink, and this particular one is peach, so we can get it on the end there. We have a plastic spoon, a powder mill Colombian coffee, a piece of gum, real gum, and there is a Ziploc bag to put either your rubbish or any leftovers in. So that is the content of this Norwegian pork sweet and sour. So let's get these on a tray and see what they look and taste like. So as you can see, I now have everything laid out on the tray, and because this is a freeze-dried meal, I'm going to start by rehydrating the mains. Now this is sweet and sour pork, made by the Real company, and it literally tells you to tear off the top, fill water to the fill line and leave it 8 minutes. So because it needs a little bit of time, I'm going to start that process straight away. Tear off the top. Hopefully it's nice and easy to open, which it is. It's a nicely gusseted pouch, so it will stand up. Now, I don't know if you can see, we've got those nice chunks of freeze-dried pork there and rice. So let's get some hot water into that. Now, always it's difficult to see the line. It's about just over the contents. That seems to be about right. And I shall use the Norwegian spoon that came with it, just to give it things a little bit of a move about. Down to the bottom there, good stir. The last time I did this, the spoon actually snapped, so I'm trying to be a little bit more careful and a bit more cautious this time. Okay, so that's already looking and smelling good, and we'll just seal that up and give it the necessary 8 minutes to do its thing. So now while it's doing that, I think what I'll do is I'll bring in the knife I'm going to use today. Now this is a knife I've had since the 80s, the time of Rambo, when everybody wanted a sort of survival knife like Rambo. Now this comes in a hard polymer sheath, and it was made by a company called Scalemead, which has long since gone out of business in the UK. Nice sharp edge, a nice saw edge. It actually clips together and makes a barbed wire cutter. I don't know if you can see there, it's cutting barbed wire. It does actually work, I have tried it. Inside the knife itself, it's the Rambo style, bit squeaky, not been open for a while. Button compass, mini survival fishing kit with matches and a few little simple survival items. Not the strongest knife in the world. I don't know how much it would be in a survival situation, but it's lasted me for 30 plus years. Also in the sheath there is, just inside there, there is a fishing spear and some bands to make a catapult or slingshot, which goes onto the forks there. So a very universal knife. Also has a little sharpening stone on the back. So nice, handy, a lot of tools. Has been used. It is a tool that I used back in its day, but I wouldn't think it is the strongest survival knife ever made. But it has lasted this long. So I shall be using that if the need arises. And let's move on to making the Taste of Peach energy drink. Again, it does tell you to fill up to the line, but I have a glass, and for demonstration purposes we shall use that glass. Now, there's a very unusual smell coming from there. Not a peach smell, but we'll see how we go. And I believe that one needs some cold water, so I've got offset a Chinese spoon, so I shall use that just to. And looking at the fill line, it's approximately a full glass, I would say, very near a full glass. That's a good old mix. Rinse my spoon, and then we'll have a look at the coffee. There's the old Colombian powder mill freeze-dried coffee, no whitener, no sugar, so it's just pure black coffee. There's no sugar in this ration at all. Again, medium dark looking granules, and we'll just give that about half a cup. Again, rinse the spoon. Now this is something I've never seen before, orange flavoured cake. Let's see how that opens. That opens nicely, and there is some greaseproof paper or baking parchment, depending on where you come from. A nice looking piece of cake. Put that down to one side, and I can smell orange coming from there. There is a smell of orange. I do apologise for your creaking. As I said on one of my previous videos, the new location of my videoing seems to have a bit of a creaky floorboard, and I keep standing on it. Let's have a look at this cranberry protein bar, 28% protein. Quite sticky. I think this was the smell I was smelling earlier, so I don't know if it was punctured, compromised, and difficulty getting it out of the bag because it's so sticky. But it is a cranberry and like crispy bar. We'll have a look at this real chocolate. Again, 60% cocoa, slightly bloomed. There is 4 cubes in there. And we'll open the gum, the real gum, ready for when we need it. So there is 2 little briquettes there. I should just get 1 out for now. Now, this isn't had long enough. I'm just going to open it and give it another stir, a bit of redistribution, make sure that as much of that water is getting down to the bottom as possible. Smelling good, looking good. Let's hope I've not left any in the corners. Still needs a couple more minutes, so while it does that, we shall have a look at the coffee. Now, I've had powder mill before. I've had a lot of people say they really enjoy it. Personally, I find it a cheap brand and not that enjoyable, but it is. It could do with some sugar. In my opinion, could do with some whitener also. It is a instant coffee. It's not bitter. It's quite smooth. But I wouldn't say it's a quality coffee by any means. It's a standard store-bought style instant coffee. Most people will be familiar with that, but I don't think you'd say it was a quality one. So have a look at this peach drink. Not overly coloured. It's very nice. I wouldn't say natural tasting peach, but it tastes very close. You can tell that is peach flavour. I wouldn't be surprised if there is actually some peach in there somewhere, unlike most of these drinks. It certainly tastes nice, pleasant, not overly sweet, not overpowering with colour, but certainly peach in flavour. Now, I think this is just about had the time requested. Let's have another look. The mains. It looks like it's reconstituting nicely. So I think we'll pour it out now. Obviously you're meant to eat it out of the bag. That came out nicely. No dry bits in the corner. Let's move that to one side. Okay. So it does look like it's ready to go. So we'll have a look. So there is a rice background there, and this is a sweet and sour pork. So nice looking sauce. Quite a strange flavour. Different to what I was expecting. It's different to a Chinese takeout or takeaway style sweet and sour pork we have here in the UK. It's a tomato based sauce, or tomato sauce. It does have a sour background to it. You can taste pineapple. There's pineapple in there, but I'm not sure where they're getting that sourness from. It's very difficult to say. There's a piece of the pork there. A very slight background hint of heat, but again, it's very much in the background. It's a sweet tomato based sauce. There is pineapple in there in the background making some of the sweetness. The difficulty I'm having is recognising where the sour is coming from. There is a sour background taste, but it's very difficult to determine where would that be coming from. A vinegar maybe, some sort of apple vinegar or cider vinegar maybe, but it's For me it's unusual. I'm not going to say unpleasant. It's certainly not unpleasant, but the flavour is not a sweet and sour pork that I'm used to. It's very heavy on tomato, it's very heavy on pineapple, but it's the sourness. There is a sour there and I just cannot decipher what that flavour is. But the more you eat, the flavour does grow. The more you eat of it, the flavour does get used to it, and also the heat starts to give you a little bit more of a bite in the back of your throat. Not unpleasant, just not what I was expecting, but still very, very palatable. So let's have a look at this cake. Little square of orange cake, shelf stable. Looks very much like the regular MRE shelf stable pound cakes that the US MREs have. There is a smell of orange, as you smell. It's soft, surprisingly quite moist for a shelf stable cake. There is the taste of orange, very similar. Again, I can only refer to my experiences in the UK. That we have things called a chocolate orange, Terry's chocolate orange. It's an artificial orange flavour, but a pleasant one. It's very reminiscent of that in flavour. But very enjoyable, nice, soft, sweet dessert cake, pudding. Again, from the UK. That would go nice with custard all over it, and eaten with custard, but a very nice, pleasant cake. Just need to rinse my mouth with a little bit of coffee. Have a look at the protein bar. It's soft, it's sticky, it breaks nice and easy. Sweet, crispy. Very nice. One of the best of these cereal bars I think you find in any ration. The cranberries are genuine, real cranberries. It's sweet, it's sticky, full of energy, very tasty, very nice. I think one of the better cereal bars in any ration. And the chocolate, slightly bloomed, nice crack. And if you hear, it's quite firm, but very soon starts to dissolve, melt on your tongue. For me, I think 60% cocoa is about the right amount to get a sweet, rich chocolate. So, for me, again, one of the best, one of the most enjoyable chocolates. The 60% cocoa content, personally, I think is about right. Some of these go up to 70%. The chocolate connoisseurs would say that's a good thing, but I think once you go over 60, it starts to get bitter. So this is a nice compromise, good quality chocolate. So again, quick rinse of the mouth. Recap: coffee, powder mill, no sugar, no whitener. My opinion, it's the cheaper store type brand instance that you can buy. Nothing to shout home about, but it is a flavour most people would recognise. An inclusion of a bit of sugar would have been nice. The peach drink, one of the nicer artificial drinks out of any ration. It's not overly coloured. There is a natural sort of taste in peach. It may be a natural flavour, it may not, but it certainly gives the impression. It's a nice light peach flavoured drink. The mains, the sweet and sour, not what I was expecting. Lots of rice, which is nicely cooked, lots of squares of pork. The flavour is certainly tomato based with a lot of sugar in there. There's a lot of sweet. There is pineapple, but there is a strange sour, and I can't quite picture where that's coming from. Maybe an apple vinegar in there, or cider vinegar. Not unpleasant, certainly filling, but just a different take on sweet and sour pork than what I'm used to, but not unpleasant. It's enjoyable, and the more I eat, the more I start to appreciate the flavour. The cake is nice, it's soft, it's moist, which is unusual for a shelf-stable cake. I'm dropping it all over the table. It has an artificial orange flavour, but in a pleasant way. Very nice, enjoyable, crumbly dessert piece of cake, pound cake. The cereal bar, energy bar, nice, soft, chewy, sweet, comforting. One of the best cereal bars in any ration. Very nice and tasty. And the chocolate, 60% cocoa. For me, that's the ideal sort of mix between sweet and bitter. Nice quality, melts on your tongue, not overly bloomed, and nice quality chocolate. Let's quickly have a look at this disinfecting swab, because my hands are now starting to get sticky. Very wet. Dripping. Actually dripping wet. I don't know if you can see. Very nice. Not very strong, but certainly moist, wet, cleansing. That does feel very cleansed, very damp, very moist, very good towel. Not very strong, but certainly up to the job. There is an alcohol smell to that. You can smell alcohol on your hands. It's cooling, you can feel it evaporating. One last thing to try, the gum. Firm, hard shell. It takes a little breaking through. The gum is quite firm as well. Lots of peppermint flavour, not overly sweet. Nice, refreshing mouth cleanser. So, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button for future videos coming very soon. So thank you and goodbye.